All right, guys, welcome back to another YouTube video here. I'm your host, Anthony Nucci, and today I want to break down if I was a real estate agent and I had to start all over from ground zero, or if I am a real estate agent that's been stuck at the same volume. Maybe I've been in the business for 10 to 15 years, but I just can't quite crack that $10 million, that $20 million threshold. This is for you. I'm going to tell you right now, most agents fail because they don't have a plan. They go into the business, they get a phone, they get a sign, and they go, okay, I'm just going to post on social media once a week. I'm going to call a certain area, and they have no marketing strategy. They have no structure. They have no regiment. They don't have scripts. They don't know what to say, and therefore they fail because there's too many unknowns. Let's get into phase number one. You need to kill the employee mindset. Kill the 9 to 5 mindset. You guys are salespeople. You eat what you kill, and there is no schedule for hunting. It's stopping at 5 o'clock to hunt. If you get a listing, cool. If you had a deal closed today, cool. Your schedule and your processes do not change that day or the day after that. Because the second you guys think that you're all done, your career is in good hands because you got 5 listings and you got 5 appointments, the second you get complacent is the second you're going to be crushed. Because trust me, I've seen this in my 7 years of being a real estate agent. 3 or 4 years ago, I remember I had $5 million floating around from all social media leads, mostly buyers, and interest rates went up overnight from 3.5% to 8%, and every buyer I had fell off the face of the earth. Every seller I had didn't want to sell anymore because everything was just a total mess, and I was sitting there
negative 150 grand GCI because I thought I had 150 grand coming in.
Right? That's what we do as real estate agents. We start counting our commission early. So let me tell you guys right now, every day, let me break it down. If you had a $5 million closing yesterday, which would be huge for some of you guys, cool. You're not going to retire off 150 grand. You're not going to get the entire 50 grand, 150 grand. You're going to have to pay your broker. You're going to have to pay taxes. And if you save 70 grand of it, 60 grand of it, cool, great, put it in the bank, reinvest into you, you're not done yet. Okay, we can all agree on that. I also need you to understand, it's not about doing 50 different things correctly. It's about mastering 3 to 5. And if you can get one listing, one deal a month from those 3 to 5 techniques, you will never be without business. Okay? And we're going to go over that right now. Number 1, in no specific order, I'm going to put social media. This is going to be the second best CRM that you guys have. Okay, there's no better way to stay in front of your clients and or remind them of what you do every single day without actually telling them and bothering them and calling them. You can get in front of thousands of people for free in a span of 24 hours with little to no effort and cost. I can make this YouTube video and have an editor and everybody else involved into it, and I won't even spend $1 on ads. And I can reach 10,000, 15,000 people from this. And I can repurpose this content into posting it on Instagram, into YouTube Short, into long format on the actual YouTube, maybe in TikTok, maybe I send it in an email blast. There's a million things that I can do with this. Okay, number 2, number 1 most important thing that nobody wants to do because it sucks is cold calling. What better way to get business than to call people that are literally raising their hand saying, I'm trying to sell? Or I was trying to sell a for sale by owner or an expired listing. But I don't know how to cold call. I don't know what to say. I'm brand new, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we'll get into that in just a second. Just please take notes on what you should be doing to get business. I'm going to go over a few more other practical things that you guys need to be mindful of and you need to master. But I did things a little bit backwards when I first started my real estate career. Everyone was trying to tell me how to do contracts, how to write contracts, and the processes of going into the MLS and doing this, that, and the third. I was like, I need to learn sales first. If I can write all the contracts in the world. If I have no business and I have no sales skills and I can't overcome objections, I can't leave a fucking voicemail, I'm not ever going to grow. Okay, so cold calling, social media. Number 3 is going to be your network and your sphere. You guys need to be going out once a week, every time there's an event, every time there's a car show, every time that there's a real estate workshop around town. You need to not only network with people that are trying to buy or sell, but you also need to network with investors and other real estate agents that work in your town or city. I used to think I'm not going to network with other real estate agents. I'm telling you that is the biggest mistake I ever made. Every single real estate agent that I work with right now, I either did an event with Joseph Bograd, Adriana Vargas, who spoke at my real estate event that I did 2 weeks ago, and she has sold $3 billion in her career. I also get access to Aquilina, which is one of the most luxurious and exclusive properties in the world, not the country, the world. I can call her at any day of the week and go get access to one of those properties to record content because I'm friends with her. I went on a $16 million listing appointment with Alex Goldstein simply because I saw him at the gym. I was like, dude, I love what you do. I want to work with you. And him and I went on an appointment the other day. All relationship driven. You can't do it alone. So if you can get there faster with a partner, do it. All right, number one, we talked about getting your mind right and your mindset. Number two, we're going to talk about setting a 6-month and 1 year goal. Because without a goal, it's like trying to drive to a destination you've never been to before. Why are you going and how do you know when you're going to get there? You have no idea. If you guys are brand new to real estate, you've never sold a thing in your life, I definitely think that going for $5 million is definitely obtainable for sure. 100 grand is not what you thought it was back in the day. 30 years ago, 100 grand was cool, but I need you guys to think bigger. Anyone can make $100,000. I promise you that. It's not that hard. And number two, I'd rather shoot for the stars and land on the moon, right? Like if I want to make $1 million my first year in real estate and I think huge, if I land at 300,000, I'm not going to be totally upset, right? And I'm just a big thinker to begin with. So you need to set a target. And I'm going to talk about what you need to do next to get there. Now, if we're going to hit this target, guys, $5 million, the number one thing we need to do is reverse engineer the math. Okay, we need data. We need KPIs in order for us to understand how many calls, how many hours, how many videos, how many meetings, how many appointments we need to be able to hit our $5 million target. So let me show you exactly how I would do that if I were you, depending on what market you're in. Number one, if you guys are brand new and you've never cold called before, I need you to understand what your foundational skill level is. And the only reason I'm going to be able to get to that level, or the only way I'm going to be able to understand that, is if you sit there and cold call for a month or two straight in order to figure out your metrics on how many phone calls it takes you to set an appointment, right? So if you guys are cold calling 2 hours a day, every day for about a month, I'm going to be able to figure out after that month, hey, Anthony, I cold called 25 hours or 20 hours this month and I set 10 appointments, 30% of them no-showed, 40% of them went with another agent, and that remaining 30%, I took home those listings, so you took 3 out of 10. So now I know your conversion rate. If you book 10 meetings, you guys are gonna figure out, in any business, there's numbers and metrics with cancellations, 30% cancel, so that's 3. That leaves us with 70%. That means 40% you lost or you took, and that remaining 30% you list, right? You will now know that it took you 20 hours to get these 10 meetings. Okay, 20 hours. Okay, now let's figure out. Let's say I live in Michigan, where I'm from. Let's say the average price point in Michigan is $350K. That means if I took 3 listings at $350K, 30% right here, right out of the 10, that's going to be over $1 million, right? Give or take. Let's just round up. We'll say, you know what? Let's just say for the sake of math, we're going to say $1 million. So there you go. That's how you guys figure out right there what your math is. Now, I also need you to understand that 20% of your deals are not going to close, okay? Maybe 15%. 20 is a little bit higher. I'm accounting for buyers and sellers. Maybe you lose the deal. Maybe you get fired. Maybe you're dealing with a crazy person. Maybe the deal falls apart. Maybe they can't get financing. Maybe there's a lot of maybes, but things happen. So let's just say you lose 15%. I want you to understand, it took us 20 hours with an average skill level, with no training and no coaching. I'm just assuming. 20 hours, maybe you talked to, again, another metric, you dialed 1,000 people, which it's going to be a lot more than that. And you spoke to 100, and you met with 10. You got to figure out your numbers. It's different depending on what state you're in. And a side note here, if I were you guys, I'd use Mojo as my dialer. And I would also get a second number from Google Voice or use Mojo's second line. Because people will sometimes try and report you for cold calling, especially if they do not call people. I call them anyway, it doesn't matter. So I would get a second line. Okay, so where are we at right now? Let me take a look here. We want to hit 5 million. Where's our target? Where's our $5 million target? We'll put it right here. $5 million goal. How do we get to 5 million? I'm just doing math here. Cancel this 15%. Let's just say we do $800K, right? Off 20 hours of cold calling, getting 30% of our listings, no buyer deals, no social media, no nothing, just us. 800K, we need to do 20, 40, 60, 80, I would say a little over 120 hours of cold calling to not only hit that 5 million, have a hedge, and also overachieve a little bit, because you guys are underestimating how many dials it's going to take for you to get really good. And we're shooting for the stars, right? So if I try and overachieve on my goal, when I feel like stopping, if my target's way up here, I'm going to stop at a higher, I'm going to have a, how do I want to word this? When you quit, you're going to be closer to your target. You're going to be that much closer to overachieving it as well. If my goal is $10 million in volume for the year, and I need to cold call 200 people a day because I'm shooting for such a high number, when I stop and I get tired, let's say I'm supposed to make 4 hours of cold calls a day and I only do 3. Most agents' goal is to do 1 hour of cold calling a day, and if they stop short, they're going to do 30 minutes. Me stopping short, I'm still outworking and pounding the competition. So that's another thing I want you guys to be mindful of. Okay, that's how we figure out our numbers. Now, this is going to be different for you guys depending on your average price point, your average units sold, if you're getting buyer leads, which I wouldn't count in this metric. I want you guys to be listing driven. You have to list to last. That's it. List to last. You want inventory. And every listing you get should turn into another listing as well. Okay? So let's just start right there. I'm giving a fucking masterclass right now. Now we're going into step 3. All right? This is where you're going to have to learn very important practical information like the MLS, doing comps, using dot loop or DocuSign for contracts, getting access to showing time to be able to show property, getting lockbox knowledge and ordering some, contracts, and CMAs. I'm going to tell you guys right now, if you don't know any of this, you need to do some homework and you need to do some work and studying. I would ask my broker, I would go to the local board, whatever board you're a part of. They do classes on this. Sometimes it's free, sometimes it costs money. You guys need to understand, you're not spending, you're investing. You're investing in knowledge. You need to know how this stuff works. Otherwise, you are never going to make it in this game. If you can't figure out this basic stuff, you're gonna be very lost. And even if you have sales skills, if you don't know how to do all this other stuff, you're gonna get crushed. By the way, comps and CMAs are the same thing. I just wrote it down twice. And there's 3 or 4 different electronic signature companies you can use. These are the most popular: Dotloop, DocuSign. Okay. This is what you guys need to be doing. Phase 1. You need to be setting up and learning all of this stuff immediately while you're working in the business as well. You're working in the business, you're working on the business, you're doing it at the same time. If you're cold calling during the day and you start getting some of these appointments and you don't know how to do all this stuff, you might have to partner with a broker. That's fine. I'd rather you commit now and figure the rest out later. If you don't have any commitments and there's no pressure and there's no meetings, you're going to just go at your own little pace. I want pressure. Pressure makes diamonds. Okay? Let's move on. Step 4 is going to be sales. The most important skill you will ever learn in your life, even if you decide 5 years from now, I want to start a company, I want to sell life insurance, I want to sell yachts, I want to sell planes. I don't care what it is, you need to learn how to do sales. You want to get that job promotion, you want to get that girl, you want to get that guy, you need sales. You need to be able to riz, you need to be able to close. Okay, learn sales. Okay, so number 1, we're going to start cold calling. I need you guys to also convince yourself that you're going to like this. It's going to suck, but you're going to like it. It's going to be fun. If you can't figure out a way to convince yourself that it's going to be fun, you're going to hate your life, you're going to burn out, and you're not going to last in this business. But when someone says, F you got to say, I understand. I'd be frustrated too. I didn't like getting a lot of phone calls either. Anthony, it's 7:45 in the morning. John, believe me, the last thing I want to do is call you at 7:45, but if you're not first, you're last. I hope you can appreciate that. All right. You need to cold call and you need to learn. You need to learn scripts and framework. You need to learn scripts and framework when you're closing and when you're selling. Okay? Another thing that I preach to my clients is to record their calls. You need to obsess over objections and the objection handlers you're going to use to overcome them. If you guys cannot become obsessed with this, you're never gonna hit mastery. I know it sounds crazy, but the only way you're gonna get to that next level, I need to tell you guys, listen, I've made millions of dollars in my career as a salesperson, and I would obsess every phone call. I just had one earlier with a billionaire, and I'm like, I could have done that better. It pissed me off for 30 minutes. I'm watching footage, I'm listening to myself. I wanna say everything a little bit better next time. I wanna get that much better. Okay? Because no one's ever 100%. That's insinuating that you have nothing to learn and you're perfect. Nobody's perfect. So the best chance you have of getting there, for those of you that want to make 350, 500 grand, $1 million plus a year, that want to take over the world and be the next big shot in your county and bulldoze the 40 to 60 year olds that are taking all the business, this is what you're going to have to do. All right, we're going to go into step 5 now, which is you need to be branding as if you want to be the $1 million guy. You got to have all of your marketing and your branding associated to $1 million field, okay? If I'm gonna be $1 million seller, I need to have $1 million website, $1 million logo, brochures, business cards, the whole nine. If you guys wanna reference what one should look like, look at nutrirealestate.com and click on my brochure, or go to thenutriteam.com and click on the brochure. Marketing, dude, number 1, brand intact. Number 2, market daily. You guys need to be screaming from the rooftops daily what you do in your business and why you're the best. And I hope you're still there, because we're just getting started. Okay, number 1, brand intact. Number 2, market daily, everywhere, high frequency on social media. You don't know what to say, you're gonna talk about yourself. Talk about, hey, this is Anthony. I'm the newest agent in Fort Lauderdale, Florida here. I'm going to take over my market, and I'm going to educate you guys on every single person and every single development and every single new restaurant that's coming into the city. If you guys have any questions, you have a question on what your property is worth or where you can be going out to dinner for a steak, whatever it is, just be the guy, be the girl. Talk about something. Guys, I just got my license a month ago. I'm super excited. I think because I'm such a good people person, and I'm a tough negotiator and I'm obsessed with the details, I'm going to be the best real estate agent in town in a matter of time. Any one of my friends and family that's looking for a real estate agent, or anyone that's looking for a rental property, buy, investment, whatever, I'm your guy. Feel free to give me a call. And then the next day, hey guys, I just want to give you an update. There's been 3 new developments that are coming in Tampa right now that are going to have 3 new restaurants, roller coaster rides, whatever. Just give value. Give value every day. Talk about something. It doesn't need to be perfect. My lighting on this whiteboard's not perfect. There's a reflection. There's a glare. I'm not wearing a suit because it doesn't fucking matter. What matters is my message. And then I'm getting in front of people. And then I'm spreading positivity. I'm spreading inspiration. I'm spreading knowledge. And I'm giving value, most importantly. Okay, find 3 areas to farm. I could talk about this all day long. You want to be in a good area, and you're going to obsess over the details. This is how you're going to market. You're going to market like this. You're going to market the hell out of one circle, the hell out of that place, like a sniper, and then eventually you're going to branch out. If I was farming, this is a really bad, maybe it's not, that's Florida, right? If I'm in Miami right here, right, and I want to farm here, I'm just going to farm there. That building in downtown, and then I'm going to do that building in Brickell, and then I'm going to do that building in Coral Gables. That's it. I'm not gonna go to Fort Lauderdale and then Southwest Ranches and then Hollywood and then I'm gonna go to Golden Beach. No, that's not gonna work. I'm gonna start right here. And then eventually I'm gonna start taking over all these little areas outside of it. I don't need to go bing, 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 bing. You see that? Look at all my marketing effort. I'm never gonna become known. I'm never gonna have that sort of impact. But if I just keep going like this in the same area, all the effort, all the energy, this focus. I have 2 cups of water here. I only have so much water that I can pour, right? Where am I going to pour it? I'm going to pour it into 1 cup. The same cup. Just keep pouring into it the whole time. The same cup, the same cup, the same cup. I don't want to go everywhere. This is the biggest mistake that I made in my real estate career in the beginning. Attention goes where money flows. Money goes where attention flows. If I only focus on one area, that's where I'm going to get attention. And if I get attention, I can garner trust and I can garner familiarity with myself and my brand, and then I can get money. All right, damn, I'm handsome. Let's get back into this. All right, this is step 6. You're 3 to 6 months in now, guys. Okay, consistency plus systems. I promise you're going to outlast and outperform and outcrush everybody. You're not going to be one of the 75 people that fail within year 1, and you're not going to be in the 3-year stat of 87% of agents failing. So pay attention. Number 1, the Nucci follow-up. Dude, I have a few different techniques that I use that are automated that nobody really knows how to set these up, and it took me 7 years to do so. Like, for example, every time I get a listing or I lose a listing or I'm farming an area to get a listing, I have a little technique that I do. There's another thing that I do with selfie videos, what I say, my 3-step plan. When I get an appointment, every time I get an appointment, I send the same selfie video. That is going to help. And then the systems that I integrate with my recurring reminders to be able to follow up with my people, that's like been the biggest thing that's worked for my coaching clients and myself. And it took me 6 to 7 years to learn this. Okay, tracking your KPIs. Like I talked about really early on, and if we can pan back to that, our goal, right? Our goal, knowing our numbers, how many dials, how many appointments, our average time to get an appointment, how many contacts it takes to get an appointment. The more data, the better. And then you can just reverse engineer. There's no guesswork because you know exactly what you're going to do. We need to create 3 buckets. I would create an additional one as well, and I'll tell you why. A hot, a nurture, and a long play or a long-term lead, right? Here's why. If they're hot and they're all. If they're nurture and they're all. Same for long play. For example, if I have Alan in the long bucket and I'm like, damn it, I just listed a property that's in that building. I can't remember what that guy's name is. And I go to look up Alan and he's in all, I'm going to find him. If he's not in all, I'm going to have to go through each one of these buckets. And if I have hundreds of leads, which I do, it's going to take me a while to get there. So I believe in putting everybody in there. And then, dude, another thing you guys need to do is every single time you close a deal, you need to get a testimonial from that client. Every single closing. People need to know that you had a great service and the people that had the pleasure of working with you had a great experience. If that's not going to be documented and screamed from the rooftops, dude, I don't know what you're doing. I need you guys to break free of this. I don't want to annoy people. I don't want to be posting too much. I don't want to be narcissistic. Fuck that. Fuck being humble. Fuck being quiet. You need to be loud. You need to scream from the rooftops what you do. The more attention you get, the more money you're going to make. Period. End of discussion. There's nothing else that's more important. All right, guys, step 7. This is it. You're going to be about 6 months into your career here. Hopefully you guys are full-time. If you're not full-time, you're walking your way out of your part-time job because of the things that you learned early on in this, steps 1 through 6. Step 7, this is it. You're going all in here. You're doubling your frequency with your content. You're doing more calls. You're delegating more. You're hiring a VA. Maybe you're hiring a TC, a transaction coordinator, to do all the paperwork for you. You need to focus on your 80-20 rule, okay? You're only going to do things that are bringing you results. For me, that is content, that is calls, and that is meetings. Everything outside of that, I'm not cooking, I'm not cleaning, I'm not sending paperwork, I'm not ordering signs, I'm not ordering photos. I have my team do all of that. Another thing that you need to work on every single day, every single week is your local reputation and being known in the community. You need to start going to the popular places. You need to start going to the expensive restaurants. You need to go to the expensive gym. And every time you meet somebody, they're going to be seen with a friend when you meet the guy that, oh, hey, Alex. Oh, Alex is going to go, oh, Anthony, you got to meet my guy, John and Henry. And then you're going to shake hands and then you're going to try and segue. John and Henry, nice to meet you guys. Next time you see them, I didn't really get to ask you guys, what do you do for work? We should go out to lunch one of these days. You take them out to lunch. Then everybody else, when you're going to the same spots all the time, they're going to keep seeing that you're a revolving door with new players. My restaurant is Hillstone and Bell Harbor, dude. Every waiter and waitress there knows me. Every time I'm there, it's with a whale. They see it. They're like, okay, this guy. So when they have a friend or a client or somebody who's in the business, they're going to be like, well, you know what? Honestly, you should talk to Anthony. So that's what I call nesting. That's another thing totally off topic. And I want you guys to focus on this. This is it. There's no buying fucking leads. You don't want buyers. You're not spending money on Zillow. The second you guys understand that the magic is in the work that you're avoiding because you want it easy. You want listings, right? But you want them to fall in your lap. That's why you think buying Zillow leads and Realtor.com leads is going to work. If that was the case, then everybody would do it. And that's not how it works. Just like you can't buy a six-pack, you can't buy a listing business. You have to work for it and you have to work towards it. So I appreciate you guys watching. If you watched all the way through, you're a fucking killer and you actually care and your attention span is there. And you were able to fight through it. Most people would have clicked off after 3 minutes, and that's why they're going to be broke peons because they don't care. There's no focus, there's no purpose, there's no why. So I can tell you guys I've generated over $45 million in gross commission income within myself and my community of 1,000 students. I have people that are 18 years old and 22 years old that have literally increased their business by 50% in the first 3 months by using these strategies, using my scripts, my cold calling methodologies. I don't know if you saw earlier on the screen, I had 156 modules that I created on building a personal brand, handling objections, how to follow up, the whole 9. By the way, never say, hey, John, I'm just following up. There's a lot of little things that you don't know, and you don't know what you don't know, right? Like you know that you don't know something, but then there's a lot of things you don't know that you don't know. So if you want to expedite your learning curve and you want to take all the trials and tribulations that I had to go through in the last 7 years and making $2+ million in real estate commissions, I would encourage you guys to click the link in my bio or in the description. You can watch a 2-minute video that I created just kind of telling my story and what I've done to help people. If you guys are serious about growing, building a personal brand, you want to get big on social, you want to be more listing driven, you want to be a sales master, I encourage you to fill that out. It's completely free. You'll get on a consultation call with someone on my team, and if it makes sense to work together, we can discuss the next steps. I appreciate you guys watching. Make sure you subscribe, share, comment, like. If you want the real sauce, follow me on Instagram, and I'll see you next time. Peace.